Okay, so last night I ended it with we were not getting it working. It cannot bring the contract, put the contract on the blockchain. So I did a little research, and if you look at the code, it did have that missing parameter that what was it called? I'm trying to find it now. Um, the transaction. It was the transaction parameter that was recently added. It did have it, and Flipper is I recompiled Flipper with the latest Canvas, which if you recall, that's sort of a layer over it, makes it easier to write smart contracts. So then I looked at this blog article. I found this by, who is it? Let me bring this up here. Mr. Nimchik. And he went through it. But now remember, at this time I had already found that it looked like both Flipper and the chain were up to date. So that made the chain accessing tool, this Canvas, this website, suspicious, because that was the only thing that I couldn't verify. So I looked at this blog, and he used a different tool. He used the standard Polkadot tool. Now what you have to realize, just like what we saw on the other, the was it .js, Polkadot.js tool we looked at earlier, you have to set it to local node, and you do it here. And what you got to do then is hit switch to tell it to switch to local node. But what I discovered is under developer there's contracts. So that's where we are now. And you can simply let's see, is this what I want? Add upload awesome. I think this is what you drag the bundle here as we did, and I've already done that, and we're going to probably do more so we can actually set later, but it did, now it did accept the contract with this tool, because this tool is the official, one of the official tools, and so it was up to date. The thing you have to be careful with is which contract you use, which account you use, because if it doesn't have enough funds, it'll reject it. So now I had a contract that's available. And the nice thing is, let me see something. Well, we'll try that in a minute. The question is, how do you interact with it? Well, under contracts, you click on exec, and you say execute. Now see, let's see, and sign and submit. Now it's true. Execute again. False. So you can see this is working perfectly. And that, so our little contract is working on the Pure Substrate node that we upgraded. And let's just quickly go over again what we did here. Because this can be rather, so the main things you got to do when you're adding a palette is you have to make sure that you add in cargo anything that it needs. So we had to add this stuff to the runtime. The first one we changed was the runtime. We have to make sure that the template, that the WASM binary is available. We have to, going back to this is done in the library file. We have to go back to to cargo and add the palettes dependencies. Now I think we set it to 201, which is the latest, and then back in cargo, and then more in cargo. We have to provide the necessary features. And then it's a matter of giving this palette what it needs. So these are constants, which is a nice thing to do, because then you can just use like millicents or cents or dollars or whatever it is that you need. And then the parameters for the contracts, some of the deposit, the rent, all these things that it needs. We're defining these constants again. We define more constants. And here's where we implement the trait. So for each of these things, we're giving it a value, because if you look on, this is all defined in here. Traits, such as, these, I guess, are auto traits. Let's see, confined. Let's see if we can find some of these. Determine contract address. That's one. How about something currency? So it's here. Oh, I think I'm in. Okay, here we go. I had gone down a level. So you can see these are the traits that you have to implement, that you have to tell it the things it needs. So that's the next thing that was done. And then we had to change the runtime to add, to put that in there, to put the the contracts in the constructor. And then we have to again go back to cargo and tell it about in the dependencies and the features. And then we go back finally to the runtime, and this is this is like an include, if you're familiar with Java. And then we implement, we add to the implementation the palette contracts runtime API. So we have to have all the code to execute the contract, get the storage, right? So we implement that. And then in the what they call the outer node, the rpc.rs, again, we have to define what the things we need using the use. So we're including what we need. And then here we add, and this is where I made a mistake initially, we have to define this. Let's see if there's anything else. I think there was So we have to add this line here, which again tells it, so what are we doing? Function create full dependencies, we add the palette contract RPC, which is what we are using. So we're saying, telling it about that. And then later down, what we're going to do is we're going to actually call, let it instantiate the contracts, I think, is extend this a lot using, has a reference to the client, which is needed to call into the runtime. So, and that's what we ended up doing. Let's see, we had another block to change spec. So this is about the create the Genesis node, and we have to tell it about the palette contracts and instant. See, we taken. So we're instantiating this as well in the testnet Genesis. So that's what we did, and as you can see, it's working exactly as it's supposed to. And so this is what did not work, and you can see, because this website is probably has not been updated. So it's always better than to use this one, because it has the latest and greatest. Let's see something. Add an existing contract. Let's see. I am not 100. Let's see something. Let's see what happens. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we can try. I don't know. Oh, I know what it is. Shoot. Let me go back and go to accounts, go to Alice, and let's see if I can copy this, because I think this is what we want. Let's try this. Contracts. This is just telling add an existing contract. Unable to deploy. Let's see what it is. Oh. The address for the deployed contract instance. So let's see if that works. I don't know if it will. We'll try it. It seems to like, no. I think it wants, let's see, contracts. Try the address that's already in use. What? See if that'll work. See if it likes that. seems to like that. And I'm going to have to see. Let's see whose address that is. I thought it was Alice's, but maybe. There we go. And save. New contract. And again, it does the same thing. So let's see. I don't know how we would. I wonder if we could change. You know what we should try is trying a totally different contract. I'm wondering it's because code hashes, because it's the same person, and let's and actually constructors, let's deploy. Let's see what happens when we do that. So that deploys the contract. Contracts instantiate. And let's look at our see if we can see anything. Let's see. Let's see what happens when we execute. And see, we get a message here. So this experiment I will declare it successfully working. And certainly if you have any questions, put them in the chat, in the comments, and I'll be take a look at them and try to answer them if I can. And thank you for watching. And if you found this useful, please give a like, and please subscribe if you want to see more. So thank you and take care.